Hello everyone and welcome back. Let's get right back into it so I can get the fuck over this fucking route, or at least get to where this route gets better again. If I wasn't injured badly enough, or if I even survived for that matter, maybe I could make a run for it. What truth? What's going on in this town? Oh my god. I squeezed my eyes shut and let my forehead thump against the seat. But only for a moment, since I want to be able to keep an eye on Brian. Already told Duke I have no fucking clue. You were there. Brian grunts as he continues to stare out the windshield, clearly thinking about something. I can't help you or anyone here, Brian. I'm just trying to find a way out. That gives me an idea. Wait, I might know a way to get out of here. If you let me go, I'll tell you. As soon as that comes out of my mouth, I wonder if I've made a mistake. Brian doesn't need to let me go to get me to tell him what he wants. I'm alone, here with him, and he can do whatever he wants to me. And I'd probably tell him whatever he wanted to hear. But he surprises me with what he says next. Escaping isn't gonna fix any of this. We're all still gonna see the same shit. I wait, but he stays quiet. It takes another minute to work up the courage to ask. See what? You know exactly what! He screeches at me in his high-pitched voice, and the truck swerves precariously. I can imagine the tires sliding off the road for a moment before Brian corrects it. You know exactly what I'm talking about, he says more gently, taking a deep breath to calm himself. Then he looks down at me. Don't you? I swallow hard, wanting to find the right answer, but unsure of what that might be. Like when Duke saw something on the ceiling in the diner? That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's something that Brian saw with me. He lets out a cold guffaw. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Otter. That and every fucking thing else. The truck takes another hard turn and I brace myself a little in the well. The swerves and turns are becoming more frequent. I can't really see out the window, but I'm pretty sure we're headed into the mountains. Is that creature thing going to attack us? Should I warn Brian? But we've all been seeing shit for a long time, even before this crazier shit started a few days back. Brian glances down at me once again. Haven't you seen stuff here? My mind immediately thinks back to when I was a kid. I'd seen plenty of things. Plenty of horrible things. But the psychiatrist had said that was normal. Again, this isn't like a grammatical mistake per se, it's just don't do that. What but my psychiatrist had said that was normal, that sometimes kids hallucinate. Notice that Brian's not wearing his seatbelt, and I start to toy with the idea of grabbing the wheel. Again, I might be killed. It would really stop Brian from taking me to wherever he's taking me. Might even be better to die. Maybe, but my parents, my friends, they haven't really seen stuff. Except Jenna, and now TJ, and Carl, after all of this started. Brian grins with his crooked and missing teeth. Seems we only see shit if there's a reason to. This is new music. I don't know what it is either, but from what I've seen, it's a combination of a shitty experience and being an echo. The truck is slowing down a little now as we start taking sharper turns. Brian's calmed down at least, but it also means that we're definitely deep in the mountains at this point, the road having turned to gravel. When I was a kid in Peyton, I didn't see shit, even though I had a pretty fucked up childhood. My mom left when I was 6 because my dad was a piece of shit. But you know, she's a piece of shit for leaving me with him. Anyway, you know where my dad told me she'd gone? I don't say anything until Brian looks back down at me expectantly. Where? Brian cackles and it sends a chill up my spine. That aliens had taken her! I press myself deeper into the well, wishing I could just disappear into the floor. I think he must have been drunk or high or both, but it stuck with me, you know? I nod, trying to keep the bear happy as he drives me along a road so curvy it seems impossible in my mind. Then, when I was a teenager in 87 or so, I got myself a boyfriend. Well, more of a fuck buddy. We kinda hated each other. He talked too much, but he was a good fuck and the only slur I knew. So I came here every other week or so to fuck him. But then something weird happened on my second or third trip out here. I remember the moon was red that night because of the forest fires out west. And I kept looking at it. And that's when I saw a flying saucer, like one straight up out of a cartoon with lights and a dome thing on top. I couldn't believe it, but there it fucking was, floating through the sky. And you know, even though it looked stupid as fuck, I knew. Brian takes a big, wide turn and the truck slows more and more until it comes to a rumbling halt. My ears ring in the silence as Brian continues to stare out into the night, the headlights lighting up his face. It knew I saw it, and it was fucking evil. I just knew it. Brian finally looks down at me again. That night, and almost every night after, I'd wake up and couldn't move, and aliens would be around my bed. And there was this one alien that I knew was my mom. She didn't look like my mom, she looked like an alien. But I just knew it was her. And she'd do these things to me. Sometimes to my mouth and eyes and nose. But usually to my dick. Torture me, and it felt fucking real. Brian chuckles, still staring at me. Fucked me up good, and I blame my boyfriend for it, for bringing me to Echo, because I was sure that's where the evil came from. I outed him that year, and he had to leave town because of it. The massive bear shakes his head. Didn't stop the dreams, though. Brian puts the truck in park, then shuts off the engine. We sit there in the darkness, in silence, and even though I'd just emptied my bladder, I feel like I'm gonna piss myself again. Never told anyone that before. I don't say anything as I just breathe through my mouth, trying to make as little sound as possible. There's something fucked up in this town that makes us see things, feel things from our past. Or some shit. Duke told me about it. How it's been happening a long fucking time. But he thinks there's a way to fix it. Brian suddenly opens the door and jumps out. He slams the door hard enough to make my ears pop. For about 5 seconds, I will myself to move, to run, to open his door and sprint into the night. But my body refuses. Before I know it, the bear is yanking open my door and grabbing me by the wrist. And if you help me out with this, we can be done with it for good. He pulls me out roughly. My legs are like rubber when he sets me on the ground, but he holds me up easily with his paws on my arm. Can you promise me to help? Then I'll let you go. We'll be free of the evil, okay? All I can do is nod dumbly. All right. It's gonna be okay, Otter. I promise. Brian transfers his iron-like grip to my wrist and starts to pull me along. I stumble after him weakly, trying not to trip in the darkness. Brian stops next to the truck bed and starts to rummage around inside. I feel like I'm gonna pee again. What do you need me to do, though? Brian finally pulls something out, and it looks shiny and heavy. I open my mouth to scream, but that's when a burst of light comes out from one of the ends of it. It's a mag light. I stare at it, gaping stupidly. Brian swings the beam of light around. All around us is gravel, sagebrush, some cacti. I have no idea where we are. I need to get something, and it's in a place that's too small for me to squeeze into. I need your help to get it, okay? Okay, but what is it? Brian ignores me, looking around. He seems to settle on a direction and sets off, pulling me along with him. Anyway, it makes me think all these ghosts and UFOs and monsters people see in the woods, I think they're all connected somehow. Yeah? I focus on trying to keep the bear happy, pretending to be interested in his ramblings. Meanwhile, we're not even on a trail, just pushing through thick brush and sharp rocks. Yeah, like little bits of echo are everywhere in the world. Some small, like a house. Some huge, like a town. That makes sense. No, it doesn't. None of this makes sense. But I have to focus on getting away from the bear. I know I should have made a run for it back in the car, but there's no helping that now. We walk for maybe about 100 yards. As we do, the land starts to incline and become steep. Brian even slips up a few times, and I'm worried he's gonna fall on top of me. Each time he manages to catch himself and yank me up after him. After a few minutes of huffing and puffing, we reach a bit of an outcrop with some large boulders. Brian lets go of me and clambers up the side of one. Before I can even think of running, he's turned around and grabbed me up by the scruff. I squeak as I'm lifted into the air, feeling like a pup again before I'm set down beside the bear. Brian looks around, keeping a hold of my wrist as he does. After some stomping and looking around with his flashlight, he seems to find what he's looking for. He brings us to the edge of a boulder, then he lifts me up again, this time by the wrist. I kick around for a moment before he lowers me slowly into a dark, spacious hole. I start to wonder if it's going to go down for a while, and I panic before my feet touch down on soft, cold dirt. Musty, cold air wafts from the black space in front of me. Immediately, Brian drops down next to me, scratching up my paw again, or snatching up my paw again. He shines the light into the dark patch in front of me, and I see what looks like a narrow tunnel burrowing into the side of the incline we're on. What is that? Brian's grunts and starts to pull me into the opening, but I pull back. Brian yanks me hard, and it feels like he almost dislocates my shoulder. I yelp loudly, "Shut up!" Brian hisses at me as he turns sideways to better fit into the tunnel. "It's the mine, you idiot!" What? I look back at the opening, back toward Echo, gently illuminated by the moonlight. I thought it was sealed. It is. This is a back entrance. Duke told me about it years ago. Said his family known about it for decades. We push through for a while until we come to another tunnel. This time one twice as wide as the one we were just in. Branches to the left, to the right. Brian stands there for a moment, inhaling deeply as he looks around. Hang on, it's been a while. I can't help myself from blurting out, "You don't know where to go?" I expect him to hit me or something, but he ignores me. Finally, he pulls me to the left. The idea of being trapped here with Brian is lost in a mine is more terrifying than anything that's happened to me in this town so far. The air is so musty and dry, I feel like coughing and sneezing at the same time, but I try to hold it in so I don't upset Brian. Yeah, okay, I can really see why Leo's route fucked a lot of people up, because typically in emotionally abusive relationships, it's on you to manage your abuser's emotions. And that can extend beyond just like your partner, that can extend into, like, say, your family. Like, if you have a mom or a dad or a sibling where you are, or your entire family have to carefully manage your actions so that you can manage their emotions. That's like, I'm not gonna mince words. That's unhealthy, that's controlling, that's abusive. That is a situation that you shouldn't be in. And what I really mean by that is, like, oh, you can't go out where you can't wear a dress to the family reunion because grandpa J is gonna be there or whatever. The fuck do you mean? It's like immediately everybody should have realized, oh, the implications of that are bad. Or, hey, you kids need to leave the house and go play down the street where your dad can't hear you. He's in one of his moods right now. Like, play outside for a while? Sure. Play outside down the street where dad can't hear them because he's in a mood? What do you mean? Or like here, it's like mom is saying some patentedly incorrect, dumb shit. But if you call her on it and say, hey, no, Mom, that's not actually right, this is... Why are you doing this? You always do this. I'm just never allowed to be right. Why can't I just... I guess I'm just so fucking stupid. Like, that's you being forced to manage someone else's emotions and someone else's reactions, and that's not right. That is, in no world is that okay. So yeah, given that's been Chase's entire job, this entire fucking route has been managing other people's emotions, whether it be Brian or Leo. It's small wonder that people who have been through emotionally abusive relationships are kind of fucking triggered by it. Then add in the shit where, you know, they're physically violent. This is the most physical violence this game has seen so far, and in Carl's route, actual literal murder can occur. So this is... We walk for another 10 minutes or so, taking a few more turns. Try to memorize the route in case I'm able to break free, but after 5 or so branches I realize I can't remember the second or third. Brian suddenly speaks up, nearly making me jump on the darkness. After a while, I stopped seeing aliens. His grip is tight, and I can feel that the circulation to my paw is cut off. It's like it's just a mass of pins and needles at this point. Now, I just see people. What kind of people? People you know? I try to keep Brian talking while I think. At some point he's gonna have to let go of me again, and it's then that I'm gonna have to make a run for it no matter what. Kudzu probably saw which direction we drove off, and he probably went to Leo to get the car. What car, Chase? Chase, what car? What car? Kudzu doesn't have a car. All of Leo's tires are slashed. Your car got stolen and crashed and destroyed by a monster. And the car and Carl's parents' car is fucking in the lake. What car? What fucking car, Chase? Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, I'm just gonna hope that Chase isn't actually this stupid and it's just how many times he gotten smashed in the head. Like, fuck's sake, in fucking Carl's route, he got fucking blueberry TF'd on his leg, and here he's just gonna come out of it with a 6-second memory span and the IQ of a toddler. But at this point, I doubt they're going to be able to find us, at least not in time. We went into the mountains, probably through some back road, and none of us even know existed. And Brian took me through hundreds of yards of desert to find a tiny opening behind some boulders. There's no way they're going to find me here. I'm on my own. Well, I see just one person, but the person changes every now and then. Brian pauses, looking into a narrow opening in the tunnel wall, even more narrow than the first passage. Depending on who it was I last knew. What does that mean? Before I can figure out what he meant by that, I'm shoved hard, forced to enter the passage in front of Brian. It's just wide enough that I can walk straight, my shoulders nearly touching both sides. Brian, on the other hand, has to suck it in and moves sideways, grunting and cursing and making all kinds of noises. Brian's let go of me as he tries to pull himself through, though he keeps knocking into me to send me forward. I could try to escape, but I have a feeling that... They did it again, but I have a feeling that that doesn't exist ahead of me. In fact, it feels like I'm being trapped. I can't explain it, but I start to get a terrible feeling that something awful is waiting for me at the end of this passage. And then I start to smell something. It's old and almost covered up by the dust and mustiness, but it's definitely there. Sweet and sick. Something rotting. It feels like ice water's poured down my back, and I freeze, only to be given a shove by the bear behind me. I fall forward into a wider opening. The smell entombs me, and I know without looking that I'm surrounded by death. I lay there on the floor, not moving, listening to Brian as he tries to squeeze through the opening. I can remember years ago when I was maybe 12, walking along the dirt road back home after hanging out with Carl. On the side of the road, I saw some roadkill, and just as I passed by, I could see the white maggots writhing through the fur. The smell for that single moment was almost unbearable, and I gagged and ran past. And while the odor in here is a bit more faint, it's almost exactly the same. I hear Brian finally shift free from the exit, and he shines the light back down on me. I know I should run. I know I need to get the fuck out of here. I know I should be fighting like hell, because I know what's coming. Is this what it's like for people who get kidnapped or murdered? People wonder why they didn't fight harder or run when they had the chance. I should have ran the second we stopped in the truck. Right now it's like I'm stuck in ice. My frantic thoughts are interrupted as Brian grasps me by the back of the shirt and pulls me back up to my feet. I'm not able to stand and just sort of crumple down next to him. The bear grunts and just drags me along into the little opening that we're in, dropping me against the wall. As Brian fumbles with the flashlight, I get a glimpse of my surroundings. It's small, maybe about 15 feet long and 10 feet wide. It's narrow enough that Brian takes up most of the space, and I'd be hard-pressed to get past him. I draw my knees up to my chest and hug them, feeling numb. God, you're such a useless piece of shit. I watch Brian lean over something against the wall. It looks like two long, polished pieces of wood. Brian tips the flashlight down, and I see that those pieces of wood are attached to a shovel and a pickaxe. Brian grabs the pickaxe, and for a heart-stopping moment, I think he's gonna turn to me. But instead, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small and rectangular. It's not until it opens and shines his flashlight on it that I see it's some kind of small notebook. Then the bear looks at the notebook and back up at the little cave we're in. The silence is almost unbearable, and I feel the need to say something, if only to fill the silence. What are you doing? You know exactly what he's doing. Brian ignores me as he continues to search for something. I whimper softly in the back of my throat. Please.
About to be murdered. And you just beg like a little bitch.
Shut up! I can't help it as I hiss through my teeth at that goddamn voice. I don't need to hear it. Especially now. Brian stiffens and turns around.
What?
I shake my head, squinting and unable to see his face as the bear turns the light on me. Nothing. I just...
No. You were talking to something. Did you see someone?
No. I don't know. I shut my eyes against the light and only see blood red. Brian chuckles and my vision goes back to black as he takes the light off me.
I was the same way as you, let me tell you something. Ignoring it ain't gonna make it go away.
Brian finally stops scanning the ground and crouches down. It takes me a moment to realize what he's looking at until he reaches down and picks it up. A smooth stone. Brian looks at it for a moment, thinking. Then he drops it off to the side and looks back down at his book.
Daniel, 19, ferret. He was the smallest, I think. There should be enough room.
Brian shines the light back down on the ground for a moment, then seems to make up his mind as he sets the butt of the flashlight on the ground. It brightly lights up the ceiling, leaving us in a calm yellow glow. Brian eyes me for a moment, positioning himself so he can watch me while he also doing his work. Crouching over, Brian starts breaking through the hard surface of the dirt with the pickaxe, grunting with each stroke. He can only do little short swings, the ceiling too low for Brian to even stand up straight. At this point, the smell of Brian has almost overwhelmed the stench of death. I guess it's one of the few things I don't mind his smell covering up.
Why aren't you at least trying to escape?
Because he's in the way.
Because you're a coward.
Why the fuck are you talking to me now? I thought you left.
I never left. You know that. You felt me even after you left town.
I shouldn't have come back.
Probably not.
I'm going insane.
Brings back memories of my old life.
I'm going insane, and it's bringing back all of my old demons.
No. I think it's because you're in the mine. I think you figured out that it's the source of everything, haven't you?
The voice I've been trying to ignore all week has changed. It's not vague or insidious anymore. It's natural. Like a real person. More like what I used to hear when I was a kid.
Well, I was a real person. Sometimes I even doubt I am that person.
It chuckles, and I feel the back of my brain itch.
More like, what do you call it? A simulation?
It waits for an answer, but I don't want to talk to it.
Oh, stop pretending I'm not here. You can feel me. You've got me looking over your shoulders since you got here.
I let my head thump against my knees, closing my eyes.
Well, really, ever since Sydney.